I looked at him standing there, clutching that envelope like it was the last thing holding him together. He wouldn't meet my eyes, not once. And I've been doing this long enough to know when someone walks into my courtroom and can't look at me, they're carrying something heavier than the citation in their hand. The paperwork said parking violations, 17 of them, unpaid, stacked up over 8 months. That's not forgetfulness. That's a pattern. That's someone whose life has gone somewhere they didn't plan. His name was Michael Torres, 42 years old. He stood there in a wrinkled button-down shirt, tie slightly crooked, shoes that had seen better years. The kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix was written all over his face. I glanced down at the file again. Address, Providence. Occupation, listed as unemployed. Previous record, clean, completely clean. Not even a speeding ticket before this. So what happened? Mr. Torres, I said. My voice cut through the silence of the courtroom. 17 parking tickets. He nodded. Still wouldn't look up. That's quite a collection you've built here. Yes, Your Honor. His voice was barely above a whisper. I leaned back in my chair. The courtroom was quiet. Too quiet. Even the clerk had stopped typing. Help me understand something, I continued. These tickets, they're all from the same area. Hospital district. Every single one. I paused, waited, let the silence do what words couldn't. His jaw tightened. His hands gripped that envelope harder. Mr. Torres, I'm going to ask you a direct question, and I want a direct answer. He finally looked up, and what I saw in his eyes. Why were you parking illegally at Rhode Island Hospital 17 times in 8 months? The question hung in the air. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Your Honor, His voice cracked. He stopped, took a breath. Take your time, I said, but my tone made it clear. I was waiting for the truth. My daughter, he finally said. Emma, she's 7. I nodded slowly. Go on. She has leukemia. The courtroom seemed to contract. Someone in the gallery inhaled sharply, but I kept my face neutral because I needed to hear the rest, and he needed to say it. The treatments are at Rhode Island Hospital, he continued. His words were coming faster now, like a dam starting to crack. 3 times a week, sometimes 4, sometimes emergency visits in the middle of the night when her fever spikes or she can't stop throwing blood or... He stopped himself, composed himself. I would park wherever I could find a spot, Your Honor. The parking garage is expensive, $15 a visit. Sometimes we're there 8 hours. Sometimes we're there for minutes and I have to rush back for work. I was trying to save money where I could. I let the silence sit again. Mr. Torres, I said carefully, you said you're unemployed. His face fell. Yes, Your Honor, as of 6 weeks ago. But these tickets go back 8 months. I was employed then. I lost my job because... He trailed off. Because? Because I missed too much work. For Emma's appointments. They were understanding at first, but... He shrugged helplessly. They needed someone who could be there. I studied him. Something wasn't adding up. Mr. Torres, if you were employed 8 months ago, and these tickets average about $45 each, we're looking at, what, roughly $765 total. Yes, Your Honor. That's a significant amount of money. It is. But you're here today. You came to court. Yes, Your Honor. I leaned forward. You could have ignored these. Let them go to warrant. Deal with them later. Never. Whenever. But you showed up. He nodded. Why? And here's where his face changed, where something shifted in his expression that I wasn't expecting. Because I need to teach Emma something. I felt my eyebrows raise slightly. Teach her what? That you face your responsibilities, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. I paused. Your 7-year-old daughter with leukemia. Yes, Your Honor. You're teaching her about responsibility. She's watching me, Your Honor, every day. She sees how I handle things, how I respond when life gets difficult, when I mess up, when I can't pay something, when I'm scared or tired or... His voice caught. She's learning how to be a person by watching me be a person. The courtroom was absolutely still. I looked down at the envelope he was holding. What's in the envelope, Mr. Torres? He looked down at it like he'd forgotten it was there. It's... Your Honor, I can't pay all of it today. I know that. But I brought... He opened it slowly, pulled out a small stack of bills. I have $140. I've been saving, cutting corners where I can. I know it's not enough, but I wanted to show that I'm trying, that I'm serious about making this right. $140. I've seen people fight tooth and nail over parking tickets they could easily afford. I've seen people make every excuse in the book to avoid paying $20. This man brought $140 he clearly couldn't spare. For parking tickets he got while taking his dying daughter to chemotherapy. But there was something else, something he wasn't saying. "Mr. Torres," I said quietly, "what else is in that envelope?" He froze. "Your Honor, there's something else in there. I can see it." He hesitated, then slowly pulled out a folded piece of paper. It looked like it had been folded and unfolded many times. The creases were wearing thin. "What is that?" It's a letter from Emma." My heart did something unexpected. "A letter?" "Yes, Your Honor. When she found out I was coming to court today, she wanted to write something. She made me promise to give it to you." "A 7-year-old wrote you a letter to bring to court?" "Yes, Your Honor." I held out my hand. "May I see it?" He walked forward, hand shaking slightly, and placed the letter on my bench. I unfolded it carefully. The handwriting was large, uneven, the kind you see from children still learning to control a pencil. Some letters were backwards. There were drawings in the margins, stick figures, a heart, what looked like a courthouse. It read, "Dear Judge, my daddy is a good daddy. He takes care of me when I'm sick. He sleeps in the hospital chair even though it hurts his back. He reads me stories. He makes me laugh when I'm scared. He never gets mad even when I throw up on him. He got tickets because of me. I'm sorry. I wish I wasn't sick so he wouldn't get in trouble. Please don't be mad at him. He's the best daddy in the world. I love him infinity. Emma, age 7. I read it twice. Then I set it down gently on the bench. The courtroom was so quiet you could hear the clock ticking on the wall. I looked up at Michael Torres. He was crying now, not even trying to hide it anymore. "Mr. Torres," I said. My voice was rougher than I intended. "How is Emma doing now?" She's responding to treatment. The doctors are cautiously optimistic. She's in remission, but we're not out of the woods. We have another year of maintenance therapy ahead." "And you're still taking her 3-4 times a week?" "Yes, Your Honor." "You're still parking wherever you can find a spot?" He nodded. "I learned my lesson, though. I pay for the garage now, even if it means other sacrifices." "Other sacrifices." "We eat a lot of rice and beans these days." He tried to smile. It didn't quite work. I sat back in my chair, looked at the letter again, looked at this father who came to court to teach his 7-year-old daughter about responsibility while she fought for her life. "Mr. Torres, I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to listen carefully." "Yes, Your Honor." "Your daughter is right. You are a good father, an exceptional father. Most parents talk about teaching their children values. You're living them. In the hardest circumstances imaginable, you're showing her integrity, responsibility, courage." His eyes widened. "These tickets, yes, you broke the law. Parking regulations exist for a reason, but I also understand context. I understand that sometimes life puts us in impossible positions where there are no perfect choices." I picked up Emma's letter. "This letter tells me everything I need to know about what kind of man you are. Your daughter, in the middle of fighting cancer, is worried about you getting in trouble. She's learned empathy and love and selflessness. She learned that from you." I paused. "Here's what we're going to do. The total fine is $765. You brought $140 today, which tells me you're serious about your obligations. That matters to me." I pulled out my gavel. "I'm reducing your total fine to $140, paid in full today. The remaining balance is dismissed." Michael Torres stared at me like he didn't understand the words coming out of my mouth. "Your Honor, I'm not finished," I said. "Additionally, I'm going to give you something." I reached into my wallet and pulled out $40 of my own money, placed it on the bench. "This is for parking, for Emma's next 4 appointments. You park in that garage, you park legally, you don't give yourself one more thing to worry about. Are we clear?" He couldn't speak. He just stood there, tears streaming down his face. "Mr. Torres, are we clear?" "Yes, Your Honor," he managed to choke out. Good. Now, I want you to do something for me. Anything, Your Honor. You go home today, and you tell Emma that the judge read her letter. You tell her that her daddy is not in trouble. You tell her that sometimes, when people are good and honest and trying their best, the world finds a way to help. You tell her to keep fighting, keep being brave, and to know that there are people she's never met, who are rooting for her. I will, Your Honor, I will. And Mr. Torres? Yes, Your Honor? You keep being the man she thinks you are, because that little girl needs her father, and based on what I've seen today, she's got a damn good one. I brought the gavel down. Case dismissed. The courtroom erupted. People were crying. The clerk was wiping her eyes. Even the bailiff looked emotional. Michael Torres stood there for a moment, then walked to the bench with an expression of pure gratitude. Your Honor, I don't know how to thank you. You already did, I said, gesturing to Emma's letter. This right here. This is why I do what I do. He picked up the $40 with shaking hands. This means more than you know. I know exactly what it means, I said gently. Now go home to your daughter. Give her a hug from all of us. He nodded, unable to speak, and turned to leave. But he stopped at the courtroom door, turned back. Your Honor? Yes, Mr. Torres. I'm going to tell Emma about you, about today, and when she beats this thing, and she will beat this thing, I'm going to bring her here, so she can meet the judge who believed in her daddy. My throat tightened. I'll look forward to that day, Mr. Torres. He smiled, genuinely smiled, for the first time since he'd walked in, and then he was gone. I sat there for a moment, holding Emma's letter, 7 years old, fighting leukemia, and worried about her father getting in trouble for parking tickets. Some cases are about the law, some cases are about justice, and some cases are about remembering what it means to be human, to show mercy, to recognize that behind every citation, every violation, every file number, there's a person, a story, a life that's more complicated than the paperwork suggests. Michael Torres came to my courtroom expecting judgment. Instead, I hope he left with something else. Hope, dignity, and the knowledge that he's not alone in this fight. Because that's what we're supposed to do. That's what justice is supposed to look like when it remembers its humanity. I placed Emma's letter in my personal files. I keep letters like that, the ones that remind me why this job matters. 3 months later, I got a card in the mail. It had a photo attached, a little girl with a big smile and a bald head, giving a thumbs up. She was wearing a superhero cape. The message inside was simple. Dear Judge Caprio, Emma finished her treatment today. She wanted you to know. She says you're a superhero too. We will never forget what you did for us. With eternal gratitude, the Torres family. I put that photo on my desk, right where I can see it every day, a reminder that sometimes the smallest acts of compassion create the biggest ripples, that mercy and justice aren't opposites, they're partners, and that every person who walks through that courtroom door is somebody's child, somebody's parent, somebody's whole world. We have the power to crush people or lift them up. Every single day we choose. I choose to remember the Emma Torreses of the world, and I choose to be the kind of judge who believes that humanity belongs in the courtroom just as much as the law, because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to do right by the people we love, and that's worth fighting for.